Farming games are probably one of the biggest genres in gaming right now, with Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley being at the forefront of their popularity. But we all wouldn't have had this kind of evolution for the genre if not for the OG that made this portion of gaming so big, Harvest Moon in 1996. Then, after a bunch of spin-offs and different takes on the genre, there's been one that has grown to be a fan favorite over the years that asked the question, hey, what if Harvest Moon, but fantasy? And then came Rune Factory, a fantasy Harvest Moon. That's actually the subtitle of the game. It went on to have multiple installments with 4 main titles along with 2 spin-offs. Yes, a spin-off game of a spin-off game. But let me just tell you that Rune Factory 4 is still one of my favorite games of all time. So when I tell you how hyped I was when after 10 years of waiting, after the original company went bankrupt, a certain Nintendo Direct not only announced a remastered Switch port of Rune Factory 4, but also,
we can finally confirm that Rune Factory 5 is in development.
I was at a loss for words. And the closer and closer it got to the release date, I was like, and it's finally here. I got to plays it. And boy, let me tell you, I have some thoughts. But yeah, ever since release, I've seen a bunch of reviews already, and I've seen a lot of people enjoying it, which I am glad to see. I love Rune Factory. I love games. I love this world. But that just means I have to be completely honest with this review. Rune Factory isn't just your basic farming life sim game with a fantasy world twist though. It's all that, plus monster taming, crafting, combat. So if you're one of those players that loves Stardew Valley but wish that the combat and exploration was deeper, this will definitely hit that sweet spot. Now, this game really does scream modern, you know? Very surprisingly so. I'd say this game has more in common with Elden Ring. Seriously. You get rescued by a chick with one eye, you fight to collect runes, you have a variety of weapons you can pick and upgrade from, kill dragons, fight giant snake monsters in a volcano, and simp for werewolf daddies. Would you look at that? Although the mechanics and overall flow and gameplay loop of this game doesn't necessarily break any boundaries,
and the freedom to break boundaries.
The real question is, how does it compare to one of my personal favorite games of all time? Alright, now before you cry and complain about me being biased and I'm not being fair to RF5 for being a new game because I'm blindfolded by nostalgia to a 10-year-old game, listen. Shh. Shut up. You have to know first and foremost that all of the Rune Factory games follow a main protagonist who gets amnesia and is welcomed to a lovely town and is met with quirky villagers, and you discover that you're basically a nature god and you become besties with a dragon. It's the same formula every time. So if you're a Rune Factory that's coming out and you're gonna be doing the same crap anyway, your only real job is to be better than the last one. It's kind of like Phineas and Ferb if you think about it. You know how every episode follows the same formula, but it's so good that you still stick around to see characters, the story, and hijinks play out. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. Let's focus on the
aspects of the game now.
At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was slightly concerned about how the overall design was gonna look like, but the character designs and their 3D models were surprisingly great and charming a lot of times. Even the dungeons have surprisingly unique and certain charm to it that you can't complain about farming certain materials you need, because these areas are gorgeous. Look at this cave, look at this volcano, look at the ice, look at my backyard.
It's a Japanese garden!
The best use of if it ain't broke, don't fix it in this game is the re-implementation of the deep and very well thought out crafting system from the last game. All the possibilities and experimentation you can do is crazy, and I'm glad they just put it here as it is. But the most important thing to talk about is the quality of life improvements, some of which I didn't even know I needed. Having the ability to load the game while playing instead of having to close and reopen the game just to load a save file. You don't have to pick up items one by one and stuff them in your pocket manually. Just walk over everything on the ground and it'll fly straight into your pocket. Storing specific items and materials doesn't have to be a process of one by one taking a stock of something and storing it somewhere. All you have to do is simply click on the thing and it'll have a store all option on there. Makes everything convenient. Being able to access every storage area from just touching one of them. And I know you guys that played previous installments will like this one. No more RNG town events. Town events will be completely available and accessible through leveling up of a relationship alone. And they can overlap each other so you don't have to painstakingly go through a friendship event that you have to go through because you can't get access to other town events until you finish the one for a specific character. All that plus the days lasting way longer than before. I believe there's an additional 2 seconds for every minute to pass in the game, which makes days in RF5 last thrice as long as the previous game. Okay, unfortunately, there are quite a lot more that I have to say on the negative aspects of this game. Unlike its previous installment, we've gone from the top-down style of play to the more third-person view, which definitely makes it unique and more of a throwback to something like Tides of Destiny, with a few differences like excluding a jump button, which was a weird decision. And with these changes come concerns, like how is it going to perform with this big of a world and all these buildings and people and monsters and whatnot. I didn't really let that bother me, because, well, Monster Hunter Rise is a game that exists on the Switch, so it's kinda hard to swallow when the game ends up having these consistent frame drops. Now, it doesn't really kill the game for me because it doesn't last long or interrupts anything gameplay related, but it happens every time I change areas, every time you go into combat with multiple companions, or even just when random effects pop up on screen. And so it does ruin the flow of the game, at least. And the load screens, oh my gosh, the load screens. Not only that, but some new implemented mechanics because of the new camera angle aren't really done well. Especially the lock-on system. I mean, just look at this. I try to lock onto the thing I'm looking at so I can throw away my garbage, and it locks onto something out of my sight directly behind me. And don't even let me get started on the stupid tile aiming system that constantly makes me destroy my crops like, do you want me to break your teeth to your eyes? And to be honest, that kind of discouraged me to do stuff like clean out my farm most of the time unless I really needed resources, so that's a bummer. And while I did say that the dungeons and overall world look pretty and charming, I don't know what happened when they designed the interiors of buildings and the MS Paint looking ass map. Speaking of design, what the hell is this supposed to be? I mean, the UI, man, it looks so empty. Like there's so much space. Look at all this dead space. Look at a freaking little life bar in the corner. It's so tiny. And it's no help either that there isn't even a sound indicator to tell you when you're running out of RP or life. So death by farming happens a lot more than you would like it to be. Well, at least for me anyway. And as much of unique and beautiful boss monster design we got in this game, there's only a select few you can actually tame. But I wanted to tame this giant snake and name him Pineapple. Every time I saw a new cool creature in Rune Factory 4, my immediate thought was to figure out how to tame them and make them part of my team. Now I just get disappointed every time I learn I can't tame a monster I want to tame. Also bummer. And one of the weirdest things to me is that the game kind of forces you to progress through the main story. Like sometimes I want to take a break from dungeon crawling and just level shit, you know, like my cooking skills, foraging skills, or even just the relationship with all the townsfolk. But you can't really do that since the game forces you to go through the main story so you can unlock everything else. It'd be fine if a lot of the first arc would be unlocking everything in the town for you to have, but even some characters and a lot of group dialogue between villagers are locked behind story progression. Like, I couldn't meet the best girl till late game in the second arc of the story. But since we're already talking about characters and story, this is just unfair. It's so unfair. Like, how come girls get to have sexy knight and daddy werewolf and heartthrob blacksmith, but for the female options, I get nothing? You guys always undermine me when I'm trying to have a boink and I'm sick of it. God! I'm surrounded by children! Children! I mean, I still got Ludmilla. Yeah, I don't know. I'd understand if the male bachelor options look the same, but come on dude. They have cute personalities and all, but man is it a weird lineup considering that you can marry this man, but not his sister. To be honest, it's almost a rule now that if a character has huge bahongazongas or like Cerberus over here with her 3 heads, they don't deserve love. You heard me right. Only flat chests get love around these parts. But I guess a foul-mouthed sexy succubus is an exception. But hey, I'm not complaining. Dude, her dialogue is actually nutty. I love it though. It just sucks that these are all the female lineups, and look at the bachelors.
You know what would kick ass? Being gay.
Being gay would kick ass.
Word. Guys understand each other. We're not gay.
Nope.
That is actually a new mechanic though. You can pick any love interest regardless of the gender you pick. So, that's neat. Don't get me wrong. I still am currently having fun with this game because it's still Rune Factory. And it's still fun. I'll for sure explore all the endgame related stuff, and I'm not gonna lie to you and say that this looks cooler than this. So so it still does have a lot of charm to it. I mean, a lot of the problems are on the technical side of things and could really be fixed with some effort, but it doesn't hurt the core of the game. If you love farming games and RPGs, or just a weeb degenerate, it may be a lot slower paced than Rune Factory 4, but the diversity in combat and spells always keeps the gameplay more fun and fresh every time. But yeah, besides the technical issues and weird decisions this game has, there's still something to be enjoyed. But if you really want to get into the world of Rune Factory, play Rune Factory 4 Special. The remaster they have on Switch is glorious, and I'm pretty sure I'll just go back to playing that again when I'm done with 5. Oh yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts on Rune Factory 5. If anything, I just hope anyone will try out this franchise because I really love these games and they deserve it. And like I said, I'll probably be heading back to playing Rune Factory 4, and if y'all are interested enough to watch me go through that, you can join me on the journey by following me on Twitch, and who knows, if that goes well, maybe I'll do Tides of Destiny as well. I haven't actually fully finished that, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.